Black Star. We're discussing the definitions of b.a.m s and b.a.fs, black adult males and black adult females. And I'm reading tonight Sojourner Truth's Ain't I Woman, delivered in 1851 at the Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio. Well, children, there's so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women at the North all talking about rights, the white men will be in a fix pretty soon. Well, what's all this here talking about? That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lift over ditches and have to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I've plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. Ain't I a woman? I could work as much as and eat as any man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off into slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Then they talk about this thing in the head. What's this they call it? Members of audience whispers, intellect. That's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights or Negroes' rights? If my cup won't hold but a pint and yours holds a quart, won't you be mean not to let me have my little half measure full? Then that little man in black there, he says women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right upside again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them. Obliged to you for hearing me, and now old Sojourner Truth ain't got no more to say.
Interesting. And that the poem is by again, who again, sister?
Sojourner Truth.
And it was read by.
And it was originally read by Kerry Washington. I can't remember. This was read by Sojourner Truth.
Scandal.
But Kerry Washington of the show Scandal, she read it in front of an audience of people.
Of white people.
Of white people.
Right. So, let's go ahead and get Dougie with this poem, because like we was, before we recorded, we had a conversation, and we was mentioning that even, you was mentioning, give your perspective of how you was saying, like, even though she was saying that poem, she still was trying to relate to be a woman, like a white woman.
Yeah, for one thing, Sojourner Truth, at the time she was a slave and only regarded as 3/5 of a human in certain states. And according to a number of the caricatures that they printed in their press, wasn't even regarded as, she was only barely regarded as a female, more like in the way you would regard a female animal, but not a woman, human. So that she's now asking to be regarded as a woman. She, in the beginning of the poem, she references white men. She makes it a point to say specifically white men, but then throughout the rest of the poem, she says the term man without using from which men, without defining from which men she wants to be respected from. And usually in our society, when people just use the term man or men, they're referencing specifically white men. So and in the description she uses of women being treated as women, being treated respectfully, these definitely can't be white men. I mean, these definitely can be black men, because black men were slaves. So black men couldn't have afforded carriages. They couldn't have helped women into carriages or lifted them over ditches. So obviously she's thinking of the way white men care for white women. So she wants a white man to care for her the way a white man cares for white women. And in the same way that Kerry Washington is her character, she plays a character on Scandal that is in relationships with white men. and constantly asking to be regarded as a woman from a white man's perspective.
So this was a setup. They had her read that. Of anybody else read it because of the character that's already, the character coat that she's wearing from that show.
Yeah.
The chess movie.
Yeah. To further push this image onto black women that we need to ask white men to respect us, not even thinking anything about the way black men regard black women. And while yes, there are certain diseased black men who degrade the black woman and things, there are a good number of black men who love and support black women. But she's not looking for love and support from black men. She's looking for love and support from white men. Sojourner Truth and Kerry Washington.
So the term, like, of course, this all came from the mind of offcode, So with the term, man and woman, because at first, like you said in the beginning, she was speaking on it as white men, and then it later on turned to man. And, the brother had, gave us a nice title or a way to describe ourselves. Offcode, you would like to go ahead and explain that for the audience and the listeners out there, so they can see exactly where we coming from with everything.
Oh yeah. Peace, famo. This is Offcode of Uncomfortable Truths, and I coined the terms b.a.m s and b.a.fs in relation to doing fucking research and really analyzing our situation and our plight here in America, right? And what I came across was that when you look in the biological nomenclatures, or if you don't know what I mean, famo, biology meaning study of the body, human body in particular, and nomenclature are words used in a certain study to describe what they're talking about, right?
Okay.
And so what I found out was that when people were saying man and woman, I could not find it in the biological nomenclature in reference to human beings. So I started to think with my own fucking brain, what could they possibly mean? When I say they, I mean white people mean when they say man and woman, if it's not biological. Because in biology, people actually go through stages. You're born a female, you're born a male. Some would say a third group, but we ain't gonna talk about that. You're born these things, and then you go through stages: infancy, adult, et cetera, right? And so it got me to thinking, why are they using this? And in my view, which could be wrong, is that they're trying to create a bond through using a title, right? And these titles start from, if we're going to go on fucking chronology, boy, girl, man, woman, right? These things, you must be trained in the ways, specifically in this society, which is run and dominated by white supremacy, i.e. white people working collectively to keep their foot up our ass, right? You must be trained how to be a boy, a girl, a man, a woman, right? And if all of y'all know, or you think you know, whatever, you know that they white people have kept us in a position where we can aspire to those titles, but we can't reach them, And if you think about this yourself, famo, then you'll see more so what I mean about, if we're talking about a man, all of us have come across people saying shit like, a man is supposed to provide and protect, right? So if we're talking about black adult males, b.a.m s, right? That's my term. It's kind of like, you can a b.a.m protect and provide for without the assistance of white people? See, that becomes the question.
Nope.
Oh, you had something to say, sir?
No, I'm steady listening. I didn't want to break your wisdom. I was just adding on like the hell motherfucking no. We BAMs can't do a goddamn thing. But most definitely continue on with the wisdom, brother.
Absolutely. So, then we go to the woman part, right? And we can ducktail this off of what Cookie was reading when she read the thing about Sojourner Truth. And she was exactly right. These white women are put on a pedestal, right? Because only through white women can white men see themselves. Can they reproduce themselves? Can they reproduce the people who they love? They can see their grandma, their uncles, their cousins, whatever. People who look like them. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes them significant to that particular people. And it's the same with us. However, I digress. So, being a white woman means that you have a white man or a man that can protect and provide for you. White women have that. b.a.fs, black adult females, don't have that. And so why I created these terms is to separate us from these people. Now, I know it's going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of us, but that's understandable. We need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's what it means to be classified as black in the first fucking place, right? Mm-hmm. So, we need to develop terms that we can identify with that creates a bond between us. When we use the terms or the titles, that I call them titles, man and woman, we attach ourselves to our open enemies, right? Because it's not specific. It's not specific anymore, If you listen to a lot of conversations, those that are listening in the audience, when you listen to us speak, pay attention to the patterns. Pay attention to when we talk to each other about black issues, and pay attention to how it shifts from us saying black women, black men, to just men and women. That, psychologically, is when the fucking line gets blurred. Now, you on team woman. You on team men. And who does this include? Your open enemies. And then you, like Cookie said earlier, you will want to be treated like these. When unfortunately that's not possible at this point in time in our history. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? b.a.fs can't do that for you. So I'll yield with that.
Most definitely, bro. I appreciate that. And that's basically, we gotta get off of relating with the opposition. And I think that we like we was talking earlier, we've been programmed to relate. The sister KK was explaining like interacting when she graduated and things of that nature, or how you had gave the story of how someone had told about somebody else. It's like they already got us programmed to have some type of emotion or reaction to when they have something, or you might go to or you might go to one of their watering holes, you know what I'm saying, and they might have the sports games on, and now black men or b.a.m s, black adult males, are relating to white men on some type of term, as far as being so-called men, but they not. It's only one man in that group, and it's another that's a male. So
that's right.
we have to be able to separate ourselves and come up with real terminology, because we using the wrong terminology and shit. I think I had gave the example that if motherfucking FEMA or anybody wanted to pull up in front of my crib, of course, yeah, we have gun licenses and everything that nature, but really at the end of the day, they have a fucking army. And there's nothing I can do to protect my family if it came down to it. You know what I'm saying? If they really wanted it. So, you know, that whole protect and provide, you know, the first word, protect, you know, as b.a.m's behind prison walls, you know, that's almost impossible, or it is impossible to 100%, you know, in so many words. What you was about to say there, Cookie?
I was just also thinking of all of this, what's in the media of how they're promoting the beauty of the black woman in magazines and in the media, but these are white-owned magazines, white-owned media stations that are read or watched predominantly by white people. And so and black people are so happy. Oh, finally now we're being regarded by whites. I don't understand why we're so happy, why we should be happy that they're regarding us at all. Even that beauty ad that, what's that company that used to be black owned, that they did that ad with the shampoo bottles falling off the wall, and yeah. I talked about it.
When they moved it from the ethnic section to the beauty, to the beauty section.
What was that, Kay? Shea Moisture. Yeah, Shea Moisture. That Shea Moisture ad, that they moved it from the ethnic section to the broader white-owned beauty. I mean, the section where the white-owned beauty products were. And, the whole ad was finally we're being accepted into the white section. Why? Why does that matter? Even in regards to the way black people have to care for their hair. The way we care for our hair is drastically different from the way white people care for their hair. So who cares whether or not our hair products are regarded by white people?
So it goes back to that poem. It's all about just wanting to be accepted.
Yeah.
That's a psychological problem that's a lot of us, in denial about, and don't see that. That's what a lot of us is trying to do, even unconsciously, But we not educated, and that's why we as a group we putting out these videos and recordings to inform everybody that we is no relation at all.
No.
And we need to separate ourselves.
Putting out mixed signals, because on the one hand we're talking about pro-blackness and black empowerment and all this stuff, but then we fall all over ourselves because white people finally gave us credence for something. So what? When that's not black empowerment, why are we so concerned with what white people think about us?
That's right.
That's the question.
Did you have something to add, KK?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back, when I was watching that show, the podcast called Cows, the context of white supremacy, and then Francis Chris Wilson was on there with the host, and she was talking about how, the problem that a lot of us have is that we are looking for acceptance. She knew the example. I'm not sure the names of these people that she knows as a reference, but she talked about how this b.a.m was attacked and beat up by a white man, and how I guess he apologized or whatever, and then black people are clapping and stuff, and it's like, what? You should not be clapping or rejoicing that he apologized, because obviously he meant what he did. Why are you clapping? I mean, why you want them to apologize for something you know they're not sincere about? Why do you want to be acknowledged by these people that obviously don't care about you? They don't like you. They hate you. It's like, why are you forcing yourself in a position where you don't fit in? Same thing with integration in anything else in this society. This doesn't apply to you, so why are you so fixated with trying to fit in? I don't understand it. And, we live in a society where people are telling you, oh, you just be yourself, stop trying to fit in with people. Well, you guys do it every day trying to fit in.
And that's the thing, that's because we are in a society that a lot of us basically just said, we just don't look at it as an acceptance, and we don't have any choice, so we just gonna go ahead and bow down. Like a lot of us, like the brother Ben Carson that tried to run, he basically gave up and ended up joining an alliance with Trump.
With Donald Trump.
Yeah, and this is the main motherfucker that was talking shit about him and throwing him under the bus and all type of slur. We don't even have to go down the list about Trump, but it's like all of us steady coming with this acceptance shit. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna just give up, and it is what it is, and this is how it has to be. So that ain't even no man's shit.
Like
what you say there, Cookie?
That should be expected from a person like Carson because he's sold out.
Well, what's the definition of selling out? Because is he a sellout, or is the brother that's in Chicago on the South Side that's shooting people on live camera a sellout?
He's a sellout too.
Right. We got to get these terminologies straight.
Ben Carson knowingly aborted babies, and I know he had to have been aborting black babies at some point. He mentioned the abortions that he had
Ben
done.
Carson?
So he's just as bad as the black person on the south side of Chicago that points a gun at some person and shoots them in the head or whatever.
Well, you're talking about Ben Carson?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, he's a doctor.
I know he's a doctor, but I didn't know he performed that kind of procedure.
I think he's a doctor on every level.
He had performed abortions. He mentioned it when all that stuff that was coming out about the rate of abortions in the black community, and Republicans were using it as a platform to promote their anti-abortion thing.
Accept.
Possibly do that.
Somebody that want to be accepted.
Yeah.
And it's a sickness that we have in our community, and even in the conscious community, we have a lot of people that still want to be accepted. They call themselves conscious, and they want to come up with, they using the term man and woman, the black man, the black woman, and it's a status type of thing. It's like that's a bar that.
For 265 years we weren't even regarded as humans, and then even after the Emancipation Proclamation, we still weren't regarded as humans in the minds of white people, because if they did, they wouldn't have treated us the way they do. Now, even today, black women, black men aren't regarded as humans, because if they were, same shit. Well, you see in the media, the way black people are treated, we're not regarded as humans, so why are black people asking to be put in the same category as white people?
Because we behind these prison walls and people just give up. And uneducated too.
Yeah, this is something that we need to stamp out, because for one thing, it's causing confusion and it's causing our own destruction. Black people are going into situations expecting to be treated a certain way and not realizing the reality of the situation that they are in here in America. Even when you walk into a grocery store, the way the employees that work there, the way they respond to you is going to be different from the way they respond to the white customers. And you have to be aware of that, and be mentally and emotionally prepared for the reactions that you will likely get.
Right.
As a black person. It doesn't matter how supposedly well dressed you are or well spoken. these people are going to have a certain mindset just because you're black. And we shouldn't have to put on a mask just so we can go out and live our lives, because that right there flies directly in the face of us being regarded as men and women like white people, because white men don't have to put on a mask to go out into the world and do their business. White women don't have to put on a persona. I mean, people put on personas, but they don't have to hide their very own nature just to make it through the day. But a lot of these black people who are selling out, are trying to fit in, trying to don the mask of whiteness, respectability. That's what they're doing, so that even though their skin is dark, they can at least seem more acceptable to white people if they talk right, and if they dress right, and if they smile enough.
And it's like when you talking, I get to thinking about like my, my great grandfather. Everybody know in the family he was known as a very angry person. But like the brother offcode, it said, society has shaped us as far as different levels. That we born on a male, and then we go to a boy, adolescent, teenager, and then man, or whatever. But he walked out the house. What at that time you could say, or the thinking the rest of the society then and now. Like I said, we're coming up with a new terminology to identify ourselves. But he left a man, but when he stepped, past that threshold out there on the streets of Chicago, he was a boy for the rest of them white men, and who he was working for, and he was treated like a boy. So in the rest of the neighborhood, I'm pretty sure it was a lot of b.a.m that was going through the same situation, but it was because they was trying to reach a status that is never was invented for them, and it's impossible for them to reach and behind these walls. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, we created this for the listeners for the purposes of identification of ourselves and to separate ourselves from oppositions, and to let it be known that we should not be relating ourselves to them in no type of way at all, and use the correct terminology, because this man and woman is not us at all. Also, you want to add something on, because like I say, we didn't want to make this podcast too long for the listeners, but we want to be straightforward. We want to come short and simple with the terminology that we're trying to bring out there, and that's the correct terminology, may I say. And I want to make sure everybody else got something to say before we end this podcast, because I definitely think we hit it on the point, and it shouldn't anything else to be said is a little too much. So let's keep it short and simple and straight and direct.
Yeah, for sure. If I was to give a great example, there are many, but if I was to give a great fucking example of just how much those titles don't fit us, specifically man, right? I could go back to the case of Daniel Hofsklaw. For the listening audience, if you don't know who that is, look it up. This, what a lot of people say, accepted as a white man, right? He went in primarily downtrodden ghetto areas to, fuck b.a.fs, right? Because he felt that he could get away with it. Now, as this story unfolded across white people's newspapers and television, which it didn't get much play either, as you'll see once you look it up, there were a lot of b.a.fs out there who were mad as hell at b.a.ms. They were mad because they said, "Where are the men? Where are the men?" Now, for me, that was a great motherfucker motherfucking, it could segue into what we're talking about. This is not possible. Unfortunately, right now, it's not possible. Because you got white people who created the situation by, raising up and teaching Daniel Holtzclaw in the ways of white supremacy, right? So they create the problem, and then they come in and have another white man to solve the problem by throwing another white man up under the bus, right? But nowhere in there did you see so-called black men, right? Because we knew subconsciously, and a lot of us consciously, that we couldn't do shit. So I think we need to take that into consideration and stop playing fucking games, be realistic, become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because that's, I think, could be wrong about this, but that's something that's gonna take for us to attempt to move forward. Because words are very fucking important. They determine whether there's gonna be confusion or clarity in a conversation. And a lot of words have pre-connotations. Pre-connotations meaning they're already defined. And whatever, generally speaking, whatever the fuck you think it is, it comes from white people, right? So if that's true, we need to take that into consideration and, think on that. Because, right now what we're engaged in is analysis, objective analysis. Now here's the thing, and I'll finish with this. You could take this analysis, think about it, come to your own conclusions, or you could say fuck it. However, keep in mind that if you say fuck it, and this is something that you've never heard, if indeed it's something that you've never heard, you could very well be a part of the fucking problem. And you'll be helping white people perpetuate keeping their foot up our ass and on our neck. And with that, I'm out.
And with that said, it's need nothing else to be said after that. This is Black Star, the Black Star Kickback, where we talk about every issue under the sun: health, relationship, goal, prepping, motivation, current events, lives, education, changing thought patterns, and paradigms. And I appreciate all the listeners for coming out to, listen to what we have to say. I am Ashur Resh. I appreciate the brother Offcode, the sister KK, and the sister Cookie. And we are Black Star. We are whole as one, as a unit, and we are going to come to, bringing these more podcasts out there to the people, as far as educating the people, as far as enlightening people, uplifting the people, and bringing this unity together. And we out of here.